Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thank you for logging on. Everything you see is in stock and for sale. Check the descriptions for model names, references, and SKUs. Reach out to Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase, pricing, and availability questions. So we're starting off with a model that came out in 2018. It was actually part of a set of 5 in the 5 Olympic colors from the Olympic collection of that year. This is the Omega Seamaster Official Timekeeper. Now the watch, which is part of a limited series of 2032, evokes a stopwatch created by Omega in the 1970s era for the period when it was timing many Olympic Games. And the 70s watch is the touchstone for the design of this timepiece. So Omega, the official Olympic timekeeper since 1932, and this watch featuring an aluminum ring on the back that recalls all of those instances. It uses the same movement, 55-hour coaxial master chronometer, as you will find in the Seamaster Diver 300 meter. It's one of the most elegant modern Omega Seamasters, being only 12 millimeters thick, 44.5 from lug to lug, and 39.5 millimeters in diameter in steel. Now, it's a bit more formal, and I would say it's more of an all-arounder than a sports watch, since the dial is not loomed. It does have that vintage stopwatch aesthetic. As you can see, two-tone varnishing on the hands, all 3 of them. Vertically aligned Arabic numerals and numeral 6 replaced by the date indicator. The watch features a vintage bubble-like sapphire, and these are some of the finest and most tapered lyre-style lugs I've seen on a modern Omega. We've also got a vintage media-blasted and polished onion-style crown. The watch features 60-meter water resistance, so if you were to put it on a different strap, it would be surface swimmable, but you don't want to go into deep submergence. We've got a perforated 70s-style leather strap in calfskin with a contrasting stitch, and this is really a unisex Seamaster. Being only 44.5 lug-to-lug, really anyone can wear this, and a very accurate, shock-resistant, and anti-magnetic timekeeper, thanks to that master chronometer caliber 8800 on the back. And if you want a sports watch that's a little bit richer and a little bit less common, here's something that Breitling launched as a tribute to its 1953 AVI Reference 765. It's the AVI Reference 765 1953 re-edition, so 153 pieces in platinum for model year 2000. This was a really rich take on the AVI with a blue lacquer dial, a full platinum case, 41.1 millimeters in diameter. We do have an actual thermoplastic. We have a true little Hesselite crystal on top of the dial with a photina treatment, a 15-minute style minutes register. You can see the radially arrayed Arabic numerals on the sub-registers and then no date as the original was, plus a conversion of the Breitling caliber B01 movement that is a manual wind. So this is caliber B09. B01 is automatic. B09 is a manual, allowing this watch to be a little bit thinner. We have a small beaded bezel that is a 12-click. It is bidirectional. It's an aviation-style bezel. We have white varnished hands with syringe-style hour and minutes, 70 hours of power reserve, chronometer certified. We have a column wheel function selector, and then a vertical clutch engagement. A really nice watch. Unfortunately, this happens on a lot of platinum watches. People kind of lose their nerve and they don't remove the shipping stickers. So it would have looked a little bit weird on the original owner's wrist, but you get the benefit of a case that's just about as sharp as it was the day it left the dealer's case. You can see the little Breitling code between the lugs right there, 2720. So this would have been made in the 27th week of 2020. One quirk of this model is that all of them shipped with white gold pin buckles. And we have a really robust Aviator style calfskin, minimally tanned with very natural grain. We've got a contrasting binding and stitch, super thick cut. They don't short you the leather, with a brown lacquering on the outside to add a little bit of opulence. The watch has no shortage of luminescence, as you can see. Chronograph minutes and seconds are fully luminescent. When you throw it on the wrist, it's not big, but it's not small. 48.6 millimeters lug to lug. It's got a nice broad 22 millimeter spacing between the lugs. I'd call this full size. It's very true to history, but being a platinum modern day chronometer with an in-house caliber, obviously there is a level of cush or luxury that you get here. And this is a very cushy way to celebrate antiquity. And my goodness, the massive platinum, you really feel it. Okay, so now we have a watch that's neither sports watch nor dress watch, but sort of an all-arounder. It sits in between. This is a model from Czapek, 18 pieces in stainless steel. It came out in 2019 as part of the salmon collection. This is the Faubourg de Cracovie Sockeye. So Sockeye salmon, we have what they call the resonance guilloche cut on the dial. And this is real rose lathe guilloche. You can see they celebrate all their suppliers at Czapek, a little bit like MB&F, so they acknowledge Metalem of Leloc as the creator of this dial. Now, not only does it feature a unique ricochet or resonance style of cutting, but the material itself is extraordinary. This is what they call alloy 401, which is 55% gold, but then also includes platinum, palladium, and silver. The watch has absolutely no shortage of lume, which I appreciate, and then a fascinating case design that combines polished with media blasted recesses. They have a glass box style sapphire with a domed and cambered sort of vaulted profile that adds height above the dial, and we've got a wonderful consistency here. Look at this 12, look at that font. Look at that 12. Now look at that 12. It's the same in all three cases. That kind of design continuity is gold. Too many brands miss that. Like I said, Czapek celebrates its suppliers, and its supplier for this movement, the SXH3, this is Vacheron, the Seed VMF 6710, automatic winding, 65-hour power reserve. It has a 36,000 vibration per hour El Primero-like beat rate, skeletonized bridges that allow you to see, among other things, the winding system and the column wheel for function cycling, vertical clutch chronograph engagement for smooth action, and of course, this is one of the best feeling column wheels I've encountered. Media blasted nickel anthracite coated bridges, 3 finishes on the rotor, beveling on the edge of the bridges, full balance bridge with a free sprung regulator to make it very shock tolerant, and you can see the design of the dial echoed on both top and bottom of the strap. These independent brands really do a great job of design and conception. 41.5 millimeters in diameter. It's not big, it's not small. Like the Breitling, I'd say this is more of a full-sized watch. I'd have no problem wearing this. It is a timepiece that's got a little bit of presence, but 48.7 millimeters lug to lug. It's not going to overwhelm you, and there is a nice curvature to the downward cant of the lugs. You see how they slope downward around a wrist that might be borderline for this. If you're not familiar with my videos, my wrist is 16 centimeters in circumference to give scale. Okay, now we go off the deep end with Urwerk. The folks out of Geneva, Martin Fry designing Felix Baumgartner watchmaking and engineering. Since 1997, they were one of the original independent watch brands, and so they've got staying power, first exhibiting at Basel in 1997. And this, like most, not all, but most Urwerk watches, uses their distinctive digital satellite time system. So that is 5:15. Now it's 5:30. And as the previous hour exits stage left, the new one comes on stage right. And so that's how it indicates the time. And my goodness, is this thing luminescent. No shortage, two-tone and several different shades. It's actually more of a party with the lights off. And you can see how at the top of the dial, the carousel within the carousel rotates to bring the next hour into alignment. You can see Urwerk UR100V on the base plate. This is the UR100V. It's actually the UR100V P02, a 20-piece steel and titanium collaboration between Urwerk and Collective Horology, inspired by the space shuttle. The watch comes with a strap that is designed for the watch. You can see how it matches the serration of the case, and then on the underside it matches the perforation of the rotor. It even has a little note to the owner: time is on your side. And a rarity for an Urwerk, we have a full deployment clasp with trigger release. Note that the triggers echo the design of the case right there. The watch also comes with a second strap, orange, textile, and synthetic, with a pin buckle. I actually like it on the clasp. This strap is uncut, but has many scored lines, and we will cut this to suit you. In terms of end-to-end, it's about 49.9 millimeters. It's about 13.6 millimeters thick and 41 from side to side. We have these little apertures on the side that have representations of the distance traveled by the space shuttle while taking off and landing, as the inspiration for this UR100 model is the space shuttle, and that's actually reflected in the literature that comes with the watch that explains these apertures and the time that they're tracking in more detail. It uses a Zenith Elite base here, doing business as Urwerk caliber 1202. Everything topside, the entire carousel mechanism is Urwerk engineered. The automatic by Zenith 48-hour power reserve, and then it has Urwerk's unique Windfanger rotor, which is designed to slow down the winding system to preserve the mechanism better. Throw it on the wrist, it's big, but it's not overwhelming. I find that I can wear this quite easily, and I think if your wrist is my size or larger, you're going to find it's a really good fit. Okay. Go ahead and try to find another one of these, I dare you. FP Journe Octolune 42mm black Tahitian mother of pearl dial. I cannot adequately emphasize the prismatic kaleidoscope-like quality of black Tahitian mother of pearl. It's anything but black. It's every color. And we have a solid gold dial with gold hands, gold numerals, moon phase adjustable by quickset, date adjustable by quickset, 42mm. Go ahead and even try to find a picture of one of these online. Boutique retailed in 2017 and very, very rare. One of the rarest Journe models you'll find. The caliber has a 120-hour chronometric, 160-hour absolute power reserve, and it is made of solid gold. So being full platinum with a solid gold movement, this is a weighty watch, and you can see the incredible performance of this dial in the light. Journe making dial case movement all 51.2 millimeters lug to lug, but only 10.5 millimeters thick. It's quite thin, but weighty. You really feel like you know where your money went when you buy this watch, and you will not see another like it. I can guarantee you that. Two watches in rose gold, but from very different philosophical approaches. From a Lange und Söhne, this variant launched in 2016, Saxonia automatic. It's 8.2 millimeters thick, it's 38.5 in diameter, 44.5 lug to lug. This is a watch with a brown Havana dial featuring rose gold garnishing. The dial blank itself is made of sterling silver. The movement caliber 086, 3-day power reserve, platinum mass, German silver bridges and plates, freehand engraved balance cock, 5-position adjusted. We have both black polish on screws as well as fire blued screws. We have both. We have stripes on the bridges, engine turning on the base plate, no shortage of bevels on the bridges. You can see that freehand engraved balance cock and a black polished swan's neck fine adjustment mechanism on top. A thin, fine, exquisite East German, traditionally hand-finished dress watch, the epitome of elegance and suitable for him and for her, suitable for wrists as small as 13.5 centimeters circumference. From Laurent Ferrier in Geneva, evergreen dial, rose gold case, classic Micro-Rotor. You can see the richness of this dial and the case itself, sinuous and sexy, and a caliber with a double direct impulse natural escapement, just like Breguet designed, but this one actually works, unlike Breguet's. 22-karat rotor, engine turned on a micro-ratcheting system with a jeweled staff, the quietest winding system I've ever encountered. 72-hour power reserve, 3 hertz, 6-position adjustment, not 5 like a chronometer, 6. Free sprung with an overcoil hairspring, and just look at those bevels. This watch features 8 interior angles where bevels meet, 4 of them inside a skeletonized steel balance cock. As good as it gets. 47.6 millimeters from lug to lug, just over 11 millimeters thick, and again 40 millimeters in diameter. This is what a dress watch was meant to be, and Laurent Ferrier, in my estimation, perhaps the most underrated independent in the business today. And perhaps the most underrated of the Holy Trinity in the fashion of your dreams. When we think of Vacheron Constantin, we think of something like this, a watch that absolutely shatters the scope of imagination, pushes the upper limits and breaks right through. Launched in 2000, this watch, the Malte Tourbillon, featured Vacheron's first in-house caliber, first entirely in-house caliber 1790, designed with a newly acquired friend. Vacheron purchased manufacturer Haute de Gamme in the 1990s, and Haute de Gamme out in the Vallée du Jeu both designed and constructed this movement, which is the only reason it doesn't have the Geneva seal. It wasn't actually built in Geneva, but you could see the quality of the bevels, the almost too many interior angles to count, the lovely diagonal Côte de Genève, the engine turning, the solarization on the barrel cover, the black polished ratchet wheel. You could see the quality of those bevels and the interior bevels for all of the jewel and screw sinks, all screws being black polished on their top. 36 millimeters across, only about 10 millimeters thick, and 47.9 millimeters lug to lug. Anyone can wear this. It was one of the last Vacherons to feature a Sigma dial indicating hands and indices out of gold. The Tourbillon, again, more interior angles, steel polished Maltese cross for the cage, and the upper bridge for the Tourbillon by itself taking 11 hours to hand-finished grade. That perfectly rounded, mirrored, and tapered bridge. We also have a pointer date, a power reserve indicator for the manually wound 40-hour power reserve, a guilloche that is sensational with a sunburst that originates at an imaginary center point just above the tourbillon. Throw it on the wrist and anyone can wear this because it's not big. It was designed in the late 90s and launched in 2000s. as good as it gets. You can even see craft art in the way the case back is engraved with Vacheron Constantin, done by hand with a burin and no engines or lathes. Reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.